Hungarian Folk Tales. The Hare and the Hedgehog. One sunny summer day, a hare and a hedgehog met in the meadow. The hare began to tease the hedgehog and said, "Hey, hedgehog, how can you even walk alone, let run with those stumpy little legs of yours?" This upset the hedgehog. "Well, I'm sure I can run faster with my little legs than you can run with your lanky long ones." Now the hare was upset. "I don't believe that." "Well, if you don't believe it, hare, let's make a wager." So the two of them placed their wagers, and then the hare said to the hedgehog, "Well then, hedgehog, shall we race?" To this the hedgehog said, "Tomorrow morning, when the 8 o'clock train leaves the station." The hare said, "But why not now, hedgehog? Because I have to go home to eat my supper. Let's meet again here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock sharp." So the hedgehog went home. After they had eaten, the hedgehog told his wife what had happened. "Just imagine, I made a wager with the hare that I can run faster than him." The hedgehog's wife said, "Don't be foolish. How could you possibly run faster than the hare?" "Well, we'll find that out tomorrow morning." The following morning, the hedgehogs got up, ate a hearty breakfast, and went out to the meadow. They didn't go to the place where they should meet the hare, but instead stood at the other end of the meadow. Then the hedgehog told his wife to hide herself in a furrow. He told her, "When the hare arrives, you are to shout out, 'I'm already here, hare!'" Then the hedgehog walked to the far end of the meadow where he met the hare. "Hello there, hare." "Hello there, hedgehog. Are you ready to race?" "Yes, I am." "Then shall we run?" "Yes, let's run." "But how shall we run over such a bumpy field?" The hedgehog said, "It's simple. I shall run in one furrow and you in another, and so we won't bump into each other while we're racing." "That sounds like a very good idea." Then the hare stood ready in one furrow and the hedgehog in another, and the hedgehog told the hare, "I shall count, and when I get to 3, we start to run." And then the hedgehog counted, 1, 2, 3. Then they both began to run, but the hedgehog only ran 2 steps and hid himself deep in the furrow. But the hedgehog's wife was sitting waiting at the other end of the meadow when the hare arrived, and she shouted, "I'm already here, hare!" And the hare said, "That was no good. Let's race again." Then they turned back and began to run in the opposite direction, but this time the hedgehog's wife only ran 2 steps and hid herself deep in the furrow. The hare did his best to run faster than he had ever run before. But when the hare arrived back at the beginning of the meadow, the hedgehog said, "I'm already here, hare." that was no good. Let's race once more." So they turned around and ran back again, but the hedgehog quickly hid in the furrow again. The poor hare ran as fast as his legs would carry him, and when he got to the other end of the meadow, the hedgehog's wife said, "I'm already here, hare." "That was no good," said the hare. "Let's run one last time." But the foolish hare felt dizzy and his legs began to tremble, and he stood in the middle of the meadow, too tired to continue. The little hedgehogs laughed at the silly hare. They had won. The pair of them laughed all the way home, and they are probably still laughing to this very day. Hungarian Folk Tales. The Soldier's Luck. Once upon a time, there lived a soldier. The soldier was returning home on leave from the army and passing through the forest when an old witch appeared and blocked his path. "Would you like to have wealth and riches, young man?" "Of course, for I do not have a penny to my name." "Then listen to me. You must go to the hollow tree and summon up all the money you desire. But you can only make money magically appear if you grant me one wish." "Just tell me what you wish, old lady." "There are 3 barrels of coins down there, but each is guarded by a fearsome hound. I shall give you an apron, and once you get down there, you must spread it on the ground and place the dogs on it. When you have collected all the money you want, you will look for a box on the table and you must bring that box to me. Now I shall tie this rope around your waist and lower you down, and when your task is complete, I shall pull you back again." The soldier looked at the coins in the first barrel, but they were all copper. "I don't want these," he said, set the dog back on the pile and carried on. The second barrel contained silver coins. He said, "I don't want these either." The third barrel was filled with gold coins, so he placed the dog on the apron and filled all his pockets with gold. Then he picked up the magic box from the table and called to the old witch to hoist him back up. "So tell me, witch, why do you want this little box?" But the old witch could not tell him, so he slit her throat with his silver sword. Then the soldier went on his way. Soon he reached a town where he bought himself good food and new clothes. Then he hired a coach and rode through the town. And as he rode, he showered the townspeople with money. He gave money willingly because he knew what it was to be poor. Then he rented a room at the local inn where he made merry every night. But the day eventually came when he ran out of money and had neither bread nor candles. Then he recalled that the little box from inside the hollow tree had a candle in it. The soldier lit the candle and the first fearsome dog appeared. "What is your wish, master?" "I've run out of money. I have neither bread nor anything else." Then the dog hurried off and soon returned with a bag brimming full of money for its master. The young soldier soon received news that there was a young princess living in the town, but that no one was allowed to visit her in person. The soldier soon set his heart on seeing her. So he lit the candle, and the dog appeared. "What is your wish, master?" "I hear there is a princess whom no one is allowed to see. How could I possibly see what she's like? She's said to be very beautiful indeed." Then the dog went off without saying a word and soon returned with the princess. The royal maid went to the princess's room in the palace and discovered that she was gone. As soon as she realized, she began to scream. Everybody asked, "Where can she have gone? Where can she have gone?" The king said, "If she comes back, a maid should sit by the side of her bed and watch over her at night and see which way she goes should she leave." So when the princess was back in her room, a maid sat by the side of her bed. The next night, when the dog took her away, the maid ran after them but failed to note the number of the house and so didn't know where the dog had taken her. "I know what to do," the king said. So he filled a bag with flour, cut the corner off the bag, and tied it to the princess's waist. So wherever the dog took her, the flour trail betrayed them. The next day, soldiers followed the flour trail and it led them directly to the young soldier. The king was furious and sentenced the young soldier to death for what he had done. All the people of the town gathered to see the execution. Then a young boy happened to pass right in front of the soldier's prison cell window, and the soldier said to him, "Where are you going, young lad?" "I'm going to see the execution of some soldier." "Go no further. I'm that soldier. Go back quickly." He told the lad where exactly. "And bring me the box you'll find on the table." The young boy went off, brought the box, and passed it to him. So when he was led to the gallows, the soldier told the hangman that he had one last wish. The king allowed the soldier to smoke a pipe. Then the soldier lit the candle in the box 3 times and all 3 dogs appeared. "What is your wish, master?" "What's my wish? Can you not see I am about to be hanged?" So then the 3 dogs set upon the crowd, but they were careful not to harm the pretty princess. Then the soldier married the princess, and they both lived happily ever after. Hungarian Folk Tales. The Poor Man and His Fiddle. Far, far away, beyond the high mountain and across the vast ocean, there lived a king who had 3 beautiful daughters. One day the queen said to the 3 daughters, "Off you go, girls, to the forest to pick wild berries, and whoever picks the most will have my red skirt." So off they went, and they picked and picked berries as fast as they could. When noon was near and the sun high, they settled down in the shade of a tree and looked to see which of them had gathered the most. Now the youngest had picked more than her 2 sisters together. The 2 turned green with envy. The youngest sister would have the red skirt. So the eldest of the 3 had this to say, "Girls, girls, come and pick some more, for we cannot go home with so few berries." The youngest argued and argued, for if they went on picking and picking, they would never be home before evening. But her 2 elder sisters insisted that they stay in the forest. And so it passed. Off went the 2 into one part of the forest, the youngest to another. but not to pick berries, for they agreed to kill their younger sister. If they could not have the red skirt, then their sister should not have it either. So they set off after her and took hold of her. She begged and pleaded in vain and offered them all the berries she had, but they killed her. Just when they had taken her life, a blind beggar arrived with his fiddle and bow. The sisters took the fiddle off the old beggar, placed their dead sister inside it, and hid the fiddle in a hole in a tree. Home went the girls and were asked where their sister was. Of course, they didn't know. They warned her again and again not to stray into the forest, but she didn't heed them. Who knew? She may have lost her way or even been killed by robbers who live in the forest. In the meantime, a poor man went off to the forest to cut himself some timber. He chopped down the very tree in which the body of the little princess had been placed. The poor man was astonished to see a fiddle spring out of the tree. He took the fiddle into his hands and started to draw the bow on the fiddle, across and up, just like the gypsies did. Now this fiddle was a fiddle that did not just make music, it sang as well. Draw the bow, good and slow, my good fellow, my good fellow. Harm it not, for the fiddle is me. The fiddle you play is Princess Betty. Goodness me, thought the poor man. This fiddle must have a spell on it. Now's my chance to seek my fortune, for a fortune it will be if someone pays to hear this wonderful song. Off set the poor man to wander the whole wide world and earn so much money that an entire cart could hardly suffice to carry it after him. On his travels, he came to the town of the king, whose youngest daughter met a death so cruel. He stopped outside the king's palace and began to play his fiddle. The king heard the wonderful melody and asked a servant to order the fiddler into his palace. The servant ran out and delivered the message, but the musician replied that not one step would he take, for he had more money than the king himself. Back ran the servant to report what the musician had said. There was nothing for it. The king himself stepped out and invited the musician into his palace to play for him. So often did he ask that the musician went in, tapped on the fiddle twice, and started to draw the bow. Draw the bow, good and slow, my good fellow, my good fellow. Harm it not, for the fiddle is me, the fiddle you play is Princess Betty. The king had this to say, a wonder of a song, a wonder. The two princesses were standing by and gaping at the song. One of them took the fiddle and started to play it to see what it would sing for her. Draw the bow, good and slow. You killed me, but no one knows. The other princess took up the fiddle and it sang the very same for her. Then the king took up the fiddle and the fiddle had this to sing for him. Draw your bow, good and slow. Princess Betty loves you so. This is witchcraft for sure. Let me try the fiddle too, said the queen. So she took up the fiddle and started to play, and the fiddle had this to sing for her. Draw the bow, good and slow, mother dear, harm it not, for the fiddle is me, Princess Betty is here, you see. And at that very moment, the fiddle opened up and out jumped the little princess, as alive and as beautiful as a spring flower. The two elder sisters fainted away in fear. The king and queen wept tears of joy for the daughter they had lost and mourned, but had now returned in such a miraculous way. Now that the cruelty of the two elder sisters had come to light, the king locked them up in a tower, there to stay until death took them away. But the little princess begged and pleaded her father until the king relented and had mercy on the two. And from then on, they all lived happily ever after.